Hi creative friends! In this video, I have 3 easy ideas for your Mother's Day card this year. We're going to paint some flowers, some teacups, and some strawberries. Grab your supplies and let's get started. My card sizes are about 4 inches by 6 inches. For the first card, I'm going to paint flowers, and I'm placing a small washi tape right here in the middle so I can have a straight edge from where my flowers are coming out. I'm going to be using mostly watercolors, but I am using some colored pencils and the Caran d'Ache Neocolor water-soluble pastels. If you don't have these extra supplies, don't worry, just watercolor will be fine. I'm using a round size 6 brush, and I'm starting out with a bright rose color from Holbein Watercolors, and I'm painting about 6 petals per flower. Make sure to leave some room in the middle so we can add the stamen. I'm going to be mixing the bright rose color in with a little bit of yellow, and that's how I got that first dusty pink color. The second flower is mostly the bright rose color. For the third flower, I mixed more of the bright rose in with the yellow, and so you can see more of that dark coral kind of color. Whenever I paint flowers, I like to use an analogous color scheme. And so even with this yellowy orange color, it's actually mostly yellow with just a hint of the bright rose. I'm starting out with just 5 flowers, but I am going to add some more. So let these first flowers dry, and then I'm going to use my color pencil to add a couple more smaller flowers. And for these smaller flowers, I'm only going to paint about 3 petals each. What I like about these color pencils is that they're not watercolor pencils, so they're not going to smear when I touch them with water. Again, if you don't have color pencil, you can definitely paint the stems with watercolor. Now I'm still using my round size 6 brush and using the Terra Verte color to add in my leaves. Now I'm using the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2 water-soluble pastels, and I'm using a brown color to fill in the center of the flowers. Then I'm going to use a warm brown color to further color in the center of the flowers. If you don't have these pastels, you can still use just watercolor. I would suggest maybe using a burnt umber and a raw sienna type of color. I've really been enjoying using different media with my watercolors lately, and so that's why I'm using these other supplies. And so I love using these wax pastels to outline my watercolors. It just adds a little bit of depth, interest, and the way that the pastels look over the cold pressed watercolor paper, because there's texture to them, the lines also have some toothy texture to it, and so I really like that. You can just as easily use color pencil or even watercolor to outline your petals. And this outlining of petals is also completely optional. You don't have to do it. I just wanted to give it a little bit more character. Finally, I'm going to add some splatter. So I'm still using my round size 6 brush and picking up a watery mixture of that light coral color that I had. I'm going to let that completely dry before adding in the phrase at the bottom. By the way, this washi tape is available in my shop. I have several different designs. Please make sure to check them out. I'm using the Pentel brush pen, and if you like my calligraphy style, I actually have a workbook in my shop, so I'll leave the link to that in the description box below, as well as all of the supplies I'm using in this video. I'm just writing Happy Mother's Day very simply, and there you go. On to the second card. This is going to be the teacups. I'm going to place my card horizontally. I'm using the drafting pencil from General Pencils, and I'm sketching out 2 teacups. Now, after I sketch these, I realized that my drawing is slightly off center, so I'm actually going to erase the one on the right and then redraw it. So I'm going to use a kneaded eraser, which is a perfect eraser and a total essential in your art toolkit because it's only going to pick up the graphite and not mess with the watercolor paper. And so that means that the paper absorbency, the quality doesn't change at all. So I'm just adjusting the size of the teacup on the right, and then I'm good to go. I'm coming back in with my kneaded eraser just to get rid of any of the stray lines, as well as make my sketch look a little bit more faint, so that when I paint over it, the pencil lines are not as obvious. I love this drafting pencil. All right, I'm using my round size 6 brush again, one of my favorite brushes, and I'm gonna paint the 2 teacups in different colors. The first one's gonna be mostly bright rose. You can see that I have a pretty watered down paint color, so it's lighter in value, and I'm just painting the entire teacup in this light value. I'm gonna make the left side just a little bit darker. And I'm using the wet on wet technique to just drop in some fresh paint directly from the pan. Teacup on the right is going to be mostly yellow. So this is the cadmium yellow light. And if you like the little palette that I'm using that you can kind of see above, I actually have a video on how I put that palette together. It's really cute, and it's actually a ceramic palette inside a metal box. So I'll link that above as well as in the description box. I'm gonna let this layer dry. Let's paint the bottom of the teacups. So I'm going to take that same color, that main color, and then just use a darker value. So that just means that my paint has more paint than water so that it appears more opaque-ish. The teacup on the right, I'm going to make the handle this bright blue color because I'm actually going to draw flowers on top of the yellow layer. So I want that to match. For the teacup on the left, I'm going to use a darker magenta type of color. And it's also going to have polka dots on the actual teacup. For the teacup on the left, I'm going to use the Caran d'Ache wax pastels. I'm just making sure that it's dry. I'm going to add my polka dots. Now again, if you don't have this medium, or if you want to use color pencils instead, that's totally cool. You can definitely use watercolor on top of this. Just wait until your first layer is completely dry. Again, I just kind of like the texture that these crayons give, and it just makes my cup have a little bit more character, but that's just my personal preference. Now for the teacup on the right, I'm going to use that same blue color that I used for the handle. I'm going to use my orange wax pastel color first to just designate where the centers of the flowers are going to be. I'm going to space them out a little bit so that I can make my petals a little bit bigger than these circles. Now the design that you want to put on your cups are completely optional, but I think polka dots are one of the easiest patterns to use. Some other ideas might be stripes or zigzags or wavy lines. Don't overthink it, really just keep it simple. Or if you want to put words on the cup itself instead of writing a separate message, that's kind of cool too. Now these cups are almost done. I'm going to add a little bit more shading with my colored pencils because I'm actually going to add shadows to these cups. I don't usually add shadows to my subjects, but I've been kind of exploring that a little bit more this year. So in order for that to happen, I want to add just a little bit more darker areas on my cups as well. So I'm just lightly going in there with my colored pencil. And you can do this with watercolor as well. Just make sure that you use a lighter value of your paint. Now for the shadows, I'm actually going to use a Payne's Gray color and just really water that down. Payne's Gray is quite pigmented, so I don't want to start too dark. So I'm making it very, very light and adding that to the left side of my cups. See, that one was kind of dark. So I'm just quickly washing out my brush and blotting it on the paper towel so that I can kind of pick up that extra pigment that's on there. You can always add with watercolor, but it's really hard to take away. Oh, they are looking so good. Okay, so I'm just tilting this a little bit so that it's comfortable for me to write. And the phrase that I'm going to write is, "Mom, you are my best tea." So cute. And there you have it. I really like this one. I love how you can customize it with whatever colors you want and the designs on the cups that you want. Last but not least, we're going to paint strawberries. Again, I'm using my washi tape to secure my paper. Still using the same size, about 4 by 6 inches. I'm going to use my Caran d'Ache Neocolor wax pastels again. And if you don't have these, again, don't worry about it, but just look at that texture. I love it. And since these are actually water soluble, I'm going to use my brush to add water to them. And you'll see just how easily it activates, how pigmented these pastels are. It's such a dream to work with. Now, some people don't like the texture that it leaves behind, or it looks kind of grainy. But again, I'm just learning how to kind of lean into those inconsistencies and really just appreciate it for what it is. So I'm okay with that. And if you don't have these pastels, feel free to just keep using watercolor. I realize that over the years, sometimes I get a little bit impatient and sometimes I don't want to wait for certain layers to dry. And so that's why sometimes I'll use colored pencil first or second, just so that I can, just get on with it. But just look at that texture. I love it. Now, when you're adding water with your brush, you don't want to use an overly wet brush. So my brush is maybe like 25 to 50% wet. It's not dripping wet, but it's not completely dry either. It's like just damp enough. Now I'm going to pull out my watercolors and I'm going to paint the rest with watercolors. And again, it's just going to create just different textures and yeah, and just make each strawberry just very unique. I'm going to add a couple strawberries that are slices. And so to make that center part, you know, white, I'm just zigzagging down the middle. Now you can color in that white spot if you want to with a really light value of red, but I decided to just keep that really bright and white, because I'm actually going to use a white gel pen at the end for the seeds. So I really like that, you know, extreme contrast. All right, after all these layers are dry, I'm using a red orange wax pastel color, just adding a little bit of dots here and there, a little bit of shading here and there. I'm not going too crazy because there's already a lot of visual interest and, you know, just a lot of texture already. I'm going back to my colored pencil, but again, you can use watercolor if you want. And I'm adding these viney stems to kind of create a border, but not really. But more than anything, just kind of fill in the empty spaces. Now I'm using my white gel pen. This is one of my favorites to draw in the seeds. If you don't want to use white, you can definitely use, you know, black or dark brown. But again, because I made the center of the strawberries like bright white, I felt like adding the seeds also in white would be a really nice mirrored contrast. As for the phrase, I'm writing to the berry best mom with my micron pen. This is a size 08. I love how this turned out, and you can definitely do a variety of berries. You don't have to do just strawberries. You can do blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, all the berries. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new, and maybe you'd be interested in doing some more mixed media types of works. Remember, all the supplies are linked below in the description box, and my washi tape is also available in my shop. I hope your mom, your grandma, aunt, godmother, and other mother figures really feel love this year with a handmade card. Remember to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and let me know in the comments which card design was your favorite. If you followed along with this tutorial and share on social media, please make sure to tag me at Audrey Ra Design and use the hashtag #PaintWithAudrey. I can't wait to see what you've created. If you like my style, you can check out my other greeting cards in my shop as well. If you want some more ideas, make sure to check out this video that has some more Mother's Day card ideas. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.